BTSN Talk Tues Inside Art and Soul Cleveland featuring Frank West and Lacey Talley. It's your man Jay Gamble. We got Justin Hunt, the company man, on your YouTubes in the building. What's going on, Justin?
What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? I'm excited. I'm excited about this conversation. I am a brand new fan of Frank West. I gotta say it. I've been rocking this album, "The Fly Lonely Stoner," and it is it's one of these projects that has such high replay value. It's an honor to be able to talk to you today, sir. I'm also a huge fan of Lacey Talley, and so
Thank you, brother. Appreciate
this
it.
is gonna be 100%. This is it's gonna be a really fun conversation about the art both of you create, but also the environments and where y'all come from, how Cleveland helped mature your artistic journey, your progression, uh, and the important moves you guys made in order to be in a position to be uh, working with so many different brands and organizations as you guys both have been throughout your careers. So it's an honor to be here. It's a pleasure to be here.
BTSN.pass. We're going to go get the conversation started. Real quick, guys, if you have not done it already, go ahead and tweet out the room. It's at BTSN Pass. It's BTSN on Twitter. Go and tweet the room out. Let people know you in here. Let them know you about to be in good and for a really great conversation along the lines of brand partnership, the Art Soul, Art Soul conversation, the festival going on this morning, Art Soul festival going on in Cleveland this weekend, and we got Frank West in the building. I have to say I'm a new fan as well. I've been playing in the background, really giving good vibes. Got Lacey Talley here as well. These are some of the featured artists at the Cleveland Art and Soul this weekend, and we have the honor of speaking with them this weekend. So go ahead and tweet the room. It's the day. So go ahead and tweet the room out at BTSN Pass. If you have not done already, go ahead to btsn.watch and go ahead and follow our newsletter so that you can stay up to date on engaging content. BTSN.watch is where you can go ahead and download that newsletter and never miss a moment and keep informed. Join the conversation and stay connected with BTSN. Polly Raw, tell us a little bit about BTSN.
Blessings, everyone. How you doing? BTSN is a TV streaming network, which stands for BTSN stands for Behind the Scenes Network, and our objective and our mission is to bring you content that comes from an access perspective for our fans and our viewers to be able to gain access to some of the things that we experience on a day-to-day basis with entertainment, tech, music, and social. Um, we have a platform which is btsn.watch. You can go watch the channel. You can go sign up and log in and watch some of our programming. We cover a lot of things from behind the scenes at concerts, studio sessions, people who are aspiring to be, producers or creatives, entertainers, or even, behind the scenes of being like a line producer or a director. We cover content that services the concept of knowledge and having access to things that you may not have seen on the surface level. So make sure you go watch our channel, btsn.watch. Also, it's on Amazon Fire Stick. Just type in btsn.pass. And we also have a blog where we cover a lot of current events and um, different writing blogs about things that happen on the behind the scenes level. So make sure you go check that out at btsn.blog. And we're here having this great conversation, about art and soul and about, just the creative process and really honing in on brand partnerships and just coming together, what that looks like, what that entails, and how important is it to our culture. So I'm excited to be here. I hope you guys are excited to be here. And, BTSN, you there.
Thank you, Polly Raw. From what I understand, we have the Nerve DJs are here. The Nerve DJs are representing for the Midwest. Lex Lou, are you here?
I'm
What's
here.
going on with you, Lex Lou? Tell us a little bit about the Nerve DJs and tell us a little bit about this event we got going on this weekend in Cleveland.
Okay, my name is Lex Lou. I represent Nerve DJs. I also represent BTSN, and I also am a brand partner of Maker's Mark and Beam Centauri. So I'm kind of the glue that kind of puts all this together to bring this thing together tonight. And the Nerve DJs is a big Nerve DJ coalition of 1,500 DJs. And, you know, it's basically we service records, we get the records out to the people, and, you know, provide services to artists to help, you know, build their careers. So that's what the Nerve DJs does. As far as BTSN, I do brand partnerships and marketing for BTSN. And when I was approached by Maker's Mark to be a part of this art and soul festival, I just felt like BTSN should really be a part of it, because a lot of people don't know what Maker's Mark is doing and bringing the, you know, spotlights to the whole art and soul. And they're not just doing it in Cleveland, they're doing it all around the country. So I just wanted to bring a spotlight to that. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Thank you, Lex Lou. We thank you for your hard work and putting this event together today. We really appreciate you, sir. Applause goes to you. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and get some
Nope.
good applause for you real quick, sir. Really appreciate you. We're gonna go and get the conversation started. I want to introduce. Go ahead and give Justin the stage so he can go and introduce the Fly and Lonely Stoner, Frank West. Again, his music is popping right now in all the speakers in the office. It's been a good vibe. If you have not already, go ahead and download that album. It's on Apple Play and all your streaming services. It's the Fly and Lonely Stoner with Frank by Frank West. A very excellent album. Go ahead, Justin. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Word up. Well, if you haven't heard of Frank West, I believe, and this is my introduction to Frank West, was on The Voice, on season 15 of The Voice. He captivated the audience, and, in my opinion, left a mark on what I thought of that season, but also when I think about that show in general. Incredibly soulful, very unique voice, able to hit off-kilter octaves and still bring, you know, all that rich goodness that you want to hear in your chest when you're hearing an artist sing and perform. Last month, he released a project called The Fly and Lonely Stoner. If you ever heard that album, punch yourself in the face. And it's an honor to have you here with us, sir.
Oh, it's an honor for me to be here. I appreciate it. Big shout out to BTSN. I love the applause. I wish I had that button on my phone. I was looking for it. I thought I was missing out.
There's an app for that. I'm sure there's an app for that. Got to be. So word up, man. So again, this is Art and Souls out of Cleveland. You're from Cleveland, is that correct? Or
Yes, I'm born and raised Cleveland, Ohio.
Born and raised Cleveland, Ohio. And so, what was your first introduction into music? How did you fall in love with it?
Well, it's a funny story. I grew up in church, and my mom would sing often, and she would sing with, like, you know, Jolly Ranchers in her mouth, not, you know, more than one, but just to keep her throat from being dry while she sang. And she choked one day, and I picked up the mic and started singing. That was my first introduction into, like, just singing in front of people. But I really fell in love with music completely when I was in the military. During boot camp, we couldn't have any music, radio, cell phones, any type of media outlet whatsoever. And one day I heard a female marching her platoon down the grinder. That's just a huge parking lot. And so I ran to the window and I heard this young lady, and she was calling cadence. It was just beautiful. But it was music to my ears because I hadn't heard it in about 2 months. And when I started doing it, it was just a different feeling, you know, because I knew the same people around me hadn't heard music either. So I was really providing, like, a uplifting to me and my comrades. So that's pretty much the story, man. I look at music as just therapy and healing, and I'm just grateful that I can be a conduit, for real.
Yeah. So your mom was choking and you saved the show. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. We was in church, you know, and I just picked the mic up and started singing the song.
Yes, you're right. That is a funny story. I've interviewed thousands of artists in my career. I've never heard anyone have that experience before. So that's a beautiful thing. At what point did you decide you wanted to take it seriously?
When I came home from the military, I've been singing all my life. I came home from the military, and after doing it there, it was just a void in my life. And so I started just singing karaoke, which I had never done before. And to be honest, I fell in love with the reaction of the crowd. and I just never was the same ever since. I mean, it might be vain, but I love when people clap. I mean, we being honest. I love to make people feel good and to see smiles on their faces. And usually, when those two things
Right.
happen, they clap.
So how was that journey for you after you returned from the military, and then you end up on The Voice in 2018, and you're singing sitting on the dock of the bay. What was that timeline in between?
There's a lot of music, a lot of music industry production for a lot of artists, a lot of ghostwriting, and a lot of just cultivating my craft. Really, I had been at a couple tables with a few labels before, and I really just wanted to be myself. I never really wanted to be like anybody else, and taking a path that was, often taken by other artists would have required me to compromise some things that I didn't want to compromise. And so my journey didn't really lead me down the path of signing a major deal or anything like that. But I've been enjoying my independence and writing this music, and I finally decided to just start letting it go. So I'm excited about what's coming this year.
Yeah, I mean, this the album came out in January. Am I not if I'm not
One,
mistaken?
two, three,
That's
two,
when
three. That's right.
1, 2, 3, 2, 3, and it looks like you're with United Masters. Is that
Yeah,
your distribution?
distribution. Yeah, through United Masters.
So, how long were you actually putting the songs together, the album together?
Well, I have about 200 and some odd songs that I've just collected over a course of time, just perfecting my craft. So some songs, it's been a while, and other songs I just created just from situations that I was in, like in the last 6 to 8 months of my life. Like "Emotional" is a song from a situationship that I was in, and we had decided, what it was going to be, but then emotions got in the way. And "Dangerous" is also about a relationship that I had that trauma was like really present. And we all go through trauma. So you can't point the finger, but you just try to make people feel safe. So just things like that. So I got a couple new joints that I came up with, and other things are old, but it's all about my life.
Cleveland's one of those cities that has what feels like a dictionary full of legendary artists that have come out
Absolutely.
of that area. Bone Thugs and Harmony for me, is my first favorite rap group of all time. But Tracy Chapman, she's also from Cleveland. 9 Inch Nails, they're from Cleveland. Kid Cudi is from Cleveland.
Hmm.
I feel like there's a Kid Cudi connection with your project, The Flying Lonely Stoner. With the Lonely Stoner, is there some influence that you've taken from Kid Cudi or any other artist from Cleveland?
My major influence would have to be Outkast.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it would have to be Outkast, predominantly Andre 3000, and then it would be Prince, James Brown, and the gray skies of Cleveland. Like, you would be surprised at what a lack of sunshine does to your ambition and like your passions when you have to force yourself to see the brighter side. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. And you're right, we do have a lot of legendary characters that come from this soil. It's a beautiful place to be from, honestly.
So for people who aren't familiar with, because I didn't realize Cleveland was overcast like that. So that was breaking news for me. I definitely think about Cleveland being cold, but I didn't think about it being like no sunshine, or at least periods of no sunshine having that impact on the art. But what else is it about Cleveland that provides you with inspiration?
Well, it's a rush, honestly. We love to be underdogs. We just won our first championship after 50 some odd years recently. And up until then, and still since then, we've just adopted and really owned this underground mentality. And it keeps us hungry, it keeps us sharpening our iron against each other. You would go into a place, let's just say a live music venue that's hosting an open mic where you would see a variety of artists. And anywhere else in the country, pretty much, because I've been around anywhere else in the country, it's a very friendly atmosphere, and it's friendly here in Cleveland, but it's a different type of friendly. Like, you really go to get your rocks off. You really go to slay, and whoever goes before you, if they killing you, you up your game. But it's all in the spirit of getting better, though. It's not really a competition. But when you take that attitude and that behavior outside of Cleveland, it's really looked at as, can we cuss? Is it bad donkey? It's like bad ass. It's
We're on the internet. You could
okay. It's really like
curse.
it's badass. And we're responsible. Like, just Ohio, period. Honestly, is responsible for a lot of sound. Like, yeah, like Ohio specifically. I won't get into it, but like a lot of the West Coast sound comes from Ohio funk bands, like the Ohio Players and Daz Band, Zapp and Rogers.
Facts.
You know, yeah, like we're deep, like we're deep in the game, like we're so deep in the game. Yeah, it's just it's a thrill just to be from here. To be honest, like I could talk about it all day, but there's a lot that fuels the creative passions here in Cleveland. Because you have to get out and find stuff here. It's like nothing is smacking you in the face. Like, you really have to get out and find your way. You have to find your voice. You have to find it. And if you're loved by Cleveland, then I mean that's rare and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm grateful to have that love, for real.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of cities. I mean, it sounds like you're alluding to it can be difficult to get love from Cleveland as an artist making your way through the city. Um, would you describe it as having a crab in the barrel mentality until you get to a certain point?
A lot of people would say that, but you have to experience different barrels. You know what I'm saying? You have to have different experiences outside of Cleveland. And when I was here, just here, I would think that. But now I'm a world traveled person. I've lived a lot of places, and it's basically just the lack of knowledge. It's not that we keep each other down. We just want to know everything before we go. And in the real world, like where things are really moving and shaking, you have to take a lot of risk. It's a lot of faith, and that's not popular. So just being well traveled and knowing what I know now, I would say it's not a crab in a bucket mentality. It's just a lack of knowledge.
Elaborate on that lack of knowledge, meaning what steps to take in your career, meaning uh, 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 what marketing strategies you need to put in, what people you should partner with. What do you mean by lack of knowledge?
Lack of knowledge, like when I used to live in Atlanta, I would see immediately uh, just reciprocity from sharing information. I don't really see that here, or I hadn't really seen that of late. Now, since I've been back, there has been a resurgence of collaboration, camaraderie, community building, creative thinking, think tanks, and it's really inspiring. But prior to my return in 2020, I hadn't seen it. But to be a part of it now, like, we're completely changing the game, and it's so natural. Like Lacey and I, for instance, she's a phenomenal artist. Like, just completely blows me away every time I get the opportunity to see her art. But we met just naturally. I held an event called the Writer's Block, and I saw her. Uh, she was at a table drawing, and she happened to just be drawing people that were there, and it just blew me away. I didn't know Lacey was Lacey at that time. Um, but it's kind of just natural like that. Like, people are really getting out and just exploring different platforms. And so I would have to say the culture is changing. So I'm kind of new here again. I've been gone for about 8 years, so I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. But I will say I'm happy to be a part of the new change that's being ushered around my city.
Art and soul. That's what's up. That's what it's all about. It's about community. It's about culture. It's about bridging gaps. It's about finding ways to help foster each other's creative experiences and aspirations, man. It's beautiful the way you said
Thank you. Great question.
that. Now, yeah, I do have one question for you that I thought was really interesting. It feels like there's a void of music out between when you were on The Voice, for example, in 2018, and the things that are available on streaming platforms now. I mean, did you have other things out? Did you decide to take it down? Are you rebranding in any kind of way? Or, what was that time period like from on the music side or the business side between The Voice and 12323?
Okay, well, when I went on The Voice, I had a lot of different miscellaneous videos, and I had an album, an EP entitled Taxi. And, I lived a pretty compartmentalized life, like just as a PK. A lot of things, it's just really private. You just keep things in their own compartments, if you know what I mean. And so just being on The Voice and having to be that transparent with people and like having to be that vulnerable kind of put me in an odd place, and so I wanted to, if everybody's going to have access, I just kind of wanted to limit what everybody had access to. And I was still trying to find my voice as, an artist that I wanted to be versus anything I was being influenced to create. And so I ended up just taking all of my videos down, and it wasn't too much of a rebranding because I pretty much stayed consistent with with my character, but I wanted to be really intentional about what I placed out, so that way I could have control over it. That's pretty much it. I didn't put out any music up until now because I was just on tour, just traveling the world. Yeah, I
Right.
was singing with the BB King's Blues Club, and I actually started to sing lead for Ready for the World before I went on The Voice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, they recruited me. It was a chance of a lifetime, but then The Voice called me, and I just wanted to do that instead. I don't know what made me choose one from the other, but
Hmm. Yeah, so you have a lot of reps. I mean, do you feel like a new artist since, you decided to
I do.
take broader control of it? You feel like a new artist?
Absolutely. I feel like I
Mhm.
feel like an accomplished artist now. Like I don't feel like when I'm in the studio I'm guessing or it's a stroke of luck. Like I feel like I can be pretty on target, and I have a better understanding of what the industry is now. And it's 7 billion people in the world, and in my travels and in my work outside of the city, I would run into people with millions of followers and I've never heard of them before. And they're on tour every weekend. And I love music, and I know people that love music, and I know people that love music. And in that wide range, in that wide radius, I had never heard hundreds of these people that I have met over the course of years that have plenty of followers and working all the time. So that really opened up my understanding to what success meant.
Mhm. I think people get caught up in what's happening in their own personal feeds often. I think people get caught up by with what's going viral on different platforms. I think people are getting caught up with who they're used to seeing on whatever charts. But you're right. I mean, there's 7 billion people in the world. You could have a fruitful, impactful artistic music career, um, and still not necessarily cross into some of these different bubbles that we're all used to frequenting. And I think that it's important for artists to always remember that, and take those risks
But
along their
that's
journey.
what I was alluding to, Justin, when I was saying the lack of knowledge. Like, it's not in the only thing that's in front of us is what's in front of us. So if we haven't seen those things, because when I was here, I wouldn't have that understanding of seeing major artists that I've never seen on television before. And then also being in Atlanta and seeing major artists that I've seen on television, on plays, and movies and whatnot. And we're in the same living room and they admire me just as much as I admire them. And so that was a culture shock within itself to just,
Mm.
rest in your own greatness and just know that you're enough to, do whatever it is that you're on the planet to do. So,
Rest in your own greatness and know that you're enough to do whatever it is on the plan that you want to do. That's beautiful.
Oh yeah, man.
That's a t-shirt. It's a long t-shirt with a lot of characters, but that's a dope ass t-shirt.
It's an extra large tee.
It's actually a large t-shirt. It's a Stop Snitching 2003 t-shirt. I rock with that.
Straight up.
Yeah. So, what was the gift and what is the curse of being on a nationally broadcast competition show?
That's a good question. The gift is it just keeps giving. Like it just never gets old. Is it just doesn't get old. Like to me, it's eons ago, but it's a lot of people's favorite thing to bring up. You know, and that's pretty cool. And to just see how proud people are of that accomplishment. Like I never really looked at it as a big deal prior to being on the show, but it just feels good to know that people are proud of me. Honestly, that really feels like fucking fantastic, to be honest. The curse, whoo, man. Listen, I got up to about, I don't know, 3 or 4 million views on YouTube. And so, along came with the comments, and the comments are beautiful. 98% of them are just great. But that 2%, oh, it's a 2%, and they tear your soul out, and they don't know you, and they get to you. It's really, it's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling, like just fame and accessibility. It's just like, ugh, it's a terrible feeling, but you can't avoid it. So I would say that that's the curse. So you just have to have strong character, man. It's tough.
Yeah, it's funny when it's amazing to me with creatives, and I tend to think about this when I think about creatives in the macro sense. It's like you have 98% of the people who love you and support you, but that 2% for some
It's
reason
so strong,
is so loud.
but it's so loud, bro. Like,
Yeah, I mean, so how do you cope with that? How do you you
oh, you
know
ignore it. Like,
how do you allow yourself to how you allow yourself not to focus on that?
that's what you do. You just don't focus on it. Like, and there's no way around it. Like, you can get addicted to it. Just like anything, to always over obsess and be compulsive about what people are saying. Or you got common sense to know that you could turn your headphones on and see a lot of people's mouths moving, you know. So just find something to sing along with, and don't pay attention to it.
Word up, Frank West, man. If there's one thing that people can expect from your performances and can expect from your project if they haven't heard it, what would you like to? What would those things be?
I think it just fits inside your life, whether you're driving, cooking, cleaning, washing, chilling, hanging, macking. You can pick a song and
Belly,
have a good time.
belly smacking,
You say what?
belly smacking, belly smacking.
You say what?
You said macking. I said belly smacking.
Yeah, macking and belly smacking. Either one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just a good time, man. So I just implore everybody to get into it. Yeah, I got about 26 releases slated for this year, so I'm just dropping gems all year long, just to stay in constant communication with you guys, because I've missed the thrill, and I want all of you back, even the ones that I don't know.
Word up, Frank West. Everybody, thank you very
Thank you
much.
for having me,
Frank
BTSN.
West.
Shout out to Lou. Shout out to Maker's Mark. Shout out to Lacey. Can't wait for Saturday, March 4th. If you can be there, be there.
And BTS went talk to Frank real quick before you go. I want to digress this one quick moment. Only thing I heard in the beginning from your origin story was Jolly Rancher. This is J.E. Gamble, by the way. I heard Jolly Rancher and Mom chokes and pick up a microphone and sings. So for some reason did your mom actually choke on the Jolly Rancher and you had to sing in her place? Or how did that work? Maybe I missed that story, but I want to make sure we get that because we want to show empathy if in fact your mom did choke. So tell me though, can you clear it up for me real fast,
Oh,
please,
sure,
Frank?
sure, 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 sure. She was standing there singing. I'm sitting behind her, and she kind of just chokes on the Jolly Rancher. And so while she's trying to,
Oh,
you know, catch her breath. I picked the mic up and just started singing.
so while you were singing, your mom was she was good. Somebody did the
She,
Hamlet. She was straight though. She was okay,
she
right?
was good, but guess what? You wouldn't believe, on NBC The Voice, right before I went on to sing Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, she got off the trolley and broke her femur. She never made the
Wow.
performance. I
Oh,
almost didn't perform. Like, I was about to go, and then they called me. I had to go check her out and get her on a gurney and then go back and perform. But it was only two people left before I went. So,
So two traumatizing moments
changed my life.
brought you changed your life. But mom is okay though, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm gonna invite her to these next things, man, because I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, these big moments, I can't really afford. I can't afford it. You feel me? So she gonna have to stay home.
Well, as long as mom is okay, we gonna chop it up. Inside our soul, Cleveland, Frank West and Lacey Talley.
hey, wait,
BT, go ahead.
yo, before you go, I'm sorry, Frank. I don't know if you're in a rush,
I
but
know it's all
this is
good.
Badru. Man, I just gotta say, listening to your story and what you talk about in your journey, when people listen to this on the playback or when people get it, in whatever fashion, even the ones getting it now, it's so important to learn from your journey. And when you listen to you talk, you you could tell you really picked up some jewels along the way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, brother.
And some of that's key for people not only in your market but in all the markets, especially people who haven't gotten out of their backyard yet.
Mm-hmm.
What you touched on, the crab, and when Justin asked the crab in the barrel question, and you touched on once you got out of your area, you realized like that was a kind of common sentiment when you go other places.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe I'm a world traveler too. And the first thing you hear from people is they like, oh man, you can't blow up in Finland because Finland doesn't support Finland. You can't blow up in Brooklyn because Brooklyn, New York don't support New York no more. Or there's always that narrative, and I love that you're able to articulate like, no, just get outside your bubble a little bit more. You'll see that that's just how it goes. That's a feeling, that you have when you're trying to get out the slump. So that, along with the other couple of jewels you dropped, man, like super key. I'm glad that you have a storytelling style of music to where we can take advantage of the jewels you learn along your way, man. But it was a pleasure hearing you talk about your story. That was super key, I think, for new artists, emerging artists, or artists just in their journey. Period.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. I really do. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
BTSN Talk Tues on Twitter Space. Inside Art and Soul Cleveland featuring Frank West and Lacey Tolly. Stay connected to BTSN. Follow at BTSN Pass on Twitter for lively updates and engaging content. Sign up for our newsletter at btsn.watch to keep informed and never miss a moment. Join the conversation and stay connected with BTSN. Maker's Mark presents Art and Soul Saturday, March 4th, 7 o'clock to 11 p.m. at Lego East Bank. That's 1091 West 10th Street, Cleveland, Ohio. Hosted by Big Hef and the Nerve DJ. That's going to be a super dope situation. At that, you can also find Lacey Talley. Now, Lacey Talley is a Cleveland-based artist, graphic designer, and muralist, and she's known for her colorful, eccentric figures based on acrylic paintings that capture otherworldly existences with the jovial poise. Her bright, bold palette is complemented by the different perspectives she pushes in her pieces. We got Lacey Talley in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Lacey Talley.
Woo! Hello, everyone.
Word up. What's up, Lacey? How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. How are y'all?
Active and awesome.
Hey,
That's how BTSN keeps it.
hey, I love it.
Well, real quick, I want to start off real fast. Do you remember that first moment when you met Frank West, the event and everything?
I do. I do. I was sitting at the bar at his writer's block event, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to draw him. Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah. So
didn't realize you drew him. I thought you were just drawing.
Oh no, so it's like I do this thing where I go to random places and draw the people in there just to like stay fresh on my body figures and everything. So yeah, it's like a way of practicing and meeting people too.
Word up. That's dope. That's dope. Now, are you it says you're Cleveland based. Are you from Cleveland or are you Cleveland based?
Oh, I'm from Cleveland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was Cleveland like as a visual artist from your experience? What inspired you to, start drawing, to start painting, and at what point did you decide to take it seriously?
So I started drawing and painting when I was like 3. And I remember very specifically, I I was obsessed with the Wiz, and I drew this scarecrow, and I showed it to my mom, and she was like, "Where did you get that?" And I was like, "I drew it," and she did not believe me until she actually saw me draw something the next time. And then, like in my little tiny 3-year-old brain, I was like, maybe we got something here."
You were thinking big at 3.
Yeah.
Just drawing Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah.
But Michael was a scarecrow. He was a scarecrow, right? He wasn't Tin Man. He was a scarecrow,
Yeah,
right?
he was
I
a
didn't think about
scarecrow.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what's up. And so, over the years, when I think about artists in general, I think about how they land on their own style, right? And you have a very striking aesthetic. If anyone who isn't familiar with Lacey Talley or hasn't seen her work, I implore you to go to LaceyTalley.com and just check out some of the stuff that's available that she has on her site. I mean, it's captivating,
Oh,
sincerely.
thank you so
And
much.
so when I look at an artist, or I hear an artist, or in general, and I see their style, I'm always curious how they got there, right? Like what pieces of different artists inspired you to the point where they all come together and you have your own style, your own presentation. Who would you say you're most influenced by?
I would say I'm most influenced by Salvador Dali and Peter Max the most. So it's like I really enjoy Dali's surrealism in his pieces, but then I really enjoy Peter Max's how bright and colorful his shapes are in his works. Like, it's electrifying.
Yeah, yeah. So did you ever like try to copy, was it the moment of explosion? I think I'm saying that wrong. Salvador Dali. Was it the moment of with the clock, the melting clock? You ever try to recreate some of the artists that you were inspired by, like to see if you could actually do the exact same piece, or was that not part of your journey at all?
So only recently have I done that. Like I've done one of Bob Ross's videos. That is like the only person I've tried to mimic. Yeah, it was a great time.
That's
Bob,
that's the illest. I think that's
the
the most.
legendary Bob
Oh
Lar.
yeah,
How, yeah, how did it turn out?
it turned
Did
out
you get like
great.
happy trees? You had a bunch of happy trees on
I
there.
did.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Well, it looks like you also studied visual communication and design in college. You went to Kent State. So at this point, you're training to be a visual artist. What was that experience like? And if there are pros or if there are challenges to being taught something as fluid as artistry, um, if you could describe that in your experience, that'd be dope.
Yeah, so I went to Kent State University, and I really enjoyed my experience there in the VCD program because it's like it taught me how to look at pieces from a different eye, and it taught me how to have a trained eye and how to push and pull things that I want like viewers to see in my paintings first, and then it trained me how to pull things. Like I want you to see this like the third time you look at the piece. So it's like learning that has helped a lot and translating my visions and my messages in my pieces. And yeah.
Yeah. And what was Ghana like?
Oh,
Did you find? inspiration over there?
I would live there in a heartbeat. Oh my goodness. So I traveled to Ghana for a study abroad trip back in 2017. And one, I learned a lot over there and I took a lot of photos. So it is the Ndele tribe over there. And it's like the women who wear the rings on their necks to elongate their necks to show like a higher social status. I really enjoyed seeing that, and that translated into my crystal ladies right now. So each lady represents a different crystal I carry on myself for protection and wisdom, and as they're a reflection of me. So those two go hand in hand. I was heavily
Hmm.
influenced in Ghana by them.
Yeah, yeah. That was were you there for Year of the Return? Are they still doing it? I feel like every year is the Year of the Return
You
still. I think
know,
they're still
I
doing
think it is too. But
it. I think that's a good way to be.
yeah. I think I was there the year before the year of the return.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. So I'm always very interested, especially with visual artists, because I'm not familiar with the economics around, you know, how that actually works in a lot of ways, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not always sure how visual artists find ways to do it for a career, do it and sustain their own livelihoods away from the big visual artists we hear about. Like, okay, I know Banksy gonna do something crazy. People gonna spend all the crazy money on Banksy, right?
Hmm.
But you also have a home decor store. You have you talk about doing art live in commercial and residential spaces. What is the for from your experience as you see it, what has been the ways that you've been able to match the economics with the incredible visual art that you do?
I would say it's definitely having several incomes. So I'm a visual artist. I have the home decor store. I'm also a freelance graphic designer, a muralist, and I'm an educator as well. So it's like being able to tap into different industries while it's all collective and cohesive within your path of what you want to do, it's necessary.
Yeah. So what's the home decor industry like?
So the home decor industry, it's been pretty nice. I sell my paintings, canvas prints, frame prints, trays. I've over the years I've been able to really find my target audience. It took time because I was new to everything, you know. And once I found my target audience, I know how to, consistently make sales.
So who's your target audience?
So I would say for my home decor store, because I'm like my trays are like my hottest item. It would be the people who are into the cannabis industry.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you make weed trays.
pretty much. Yeah, but you can use it for crystals, coins, keys.
Right. No, I mean I like weed trays. I mean I didn't, they're versatile. I
Yeah.
like the main
Thank you.
purpose. So yeah, I mean that's amazing to me. I mean, and so what are your overall? Where do you envision uh, yourself? 5 years from now, 7 years from now, in terms of all the things that you're building and all the things that you've been dreaming about since you were 3 years old, drawing Michael Jackson.
Yeah. So, what I envision like 5 years from now. So this is a new joy I have found is curating art experiences, and like what I envision right now. So right now I'm working on. It's called the Crystal Gardens. It's a 360 immersive healing space experience playing off the five senses. And the purpose of the experience is to focus on the mental health of the youth within our community. And so the goal is to start it here in Cleveland, but 5 years from now, I want it to have pop ups in different cities and then get into different like school systems, libraries, foster homes, because like it's needed, really. Healing
Yeah,
spaces are really needed, especially within our youth, because like when I think about all the things I've learned now had I learned them as a teenager and I knew how to regulate my thoughts and emotions, oh, I'd be a different Lacey today. But
Mhm. I'm not sure that's a good thing.
well,
This lace is pretty
oh
incredible.
well, thank you. But I want to be able to provide youth with those tools to help them on their journeys of healing, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, I'm with that. I'm with that. I like the way you describe that too.
Thank you.
So, so how has Cleveland inspired you, impacted you, or influenced your art and your perspective and how you see the world?
So Cleveland has influenced me a lot. So for real, I'm relearning kind of like what Frank was saying. I'm relearning the city as an adult. So I was living in Kent for all my younger 20s, and I didn't move back
Mhm.
here until like 2019. But then I left, and then I came back. So it's like it's a new culture here for sure, and it's like very inviting, and people want to help each other, and it's been really beautiful to witness and work with people, you know.
What do you think changed the culture? Or, I mean, is it COVID or is it maybe just being away for a while? Do you think that there's been some very specific things that the city has decided to foster, or people within the city decided to foster, that make you feel such a stark difference from before you went to camp?
um it could be a combination of things for real. So I'm thinking like COVID could be one for sure, because I remember before COVID it wasn't as many pop-up shops before, and after COVID happened it was like a whole new community was birthed from people finding their true passions and helping each other with shows, and it was just a different, you could just feel the shift. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah.
I'm always like I'm in Los Angeles, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is the first year where we just had the Grammys, for example. This was the Grammys again, like for real, the Grammys again. Last year the Grammys were in Las Vegas. So there wasn't very much the year before. It was
Hmm.
recorded. There wasn't a whole lot of activity, but away from just the Grammys, I'm using that as an example. I just feel excitement whenever I go outside, from not only myself to be outside and go to all these different things, but from other people as well. I think there's just like an urgency that I feel in people wanting to collaborate, people wanting to be creative, people wanting to, expand their reach and their horizons. And I personally think that's a byproduct of COVID. So it's interesting to hear that perhaps that's happening in other cities around the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have a piece that you're most proud of that you've made that people could find somewhere, like it's available on your website perhaps, or something that you've been commissioned to do? And what was that experience like putting that together?
I would say, so I would say the piece that can I get like a top three? Because it's like choosing a kid, your favorite kid.
You can only choose one.
Oh
One kid. The other two kids, not those kids. Nope, I'm joking. Yeah, top three is fine. No
no. Okay. So I would say the first one is, so last year I had the opportunity to work with a dope team of graphic designers on the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Social Justice Trophy.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, it was rewarded to Carmelo Anthony for all the social justice work he's done off the court. And being able to like have a hand in such a monumental project was insane. We got to meet Kareem and talk to him and meet Carmelo, and it was a really amazing experience. So that's number one. Um, my second one would be, it was the piece that I made coming out of an artist block for over a year. It's called I Freaking Hate You. It's inspired by Tyler the Creator's song. I'm a huge fan of him. And the third one would be the Cleveland Summit location marker. So Are you familiar with the time Muhammad Ali refused to go fight in a war?
Yes,
So that
yes.
event happened here in Cleveland. And with the pretty much the same team of graphic designers, we were tasked to create a location marker to commemorate that event. And we built a table that had 12 different old style mics that represent the 12 different athletes and community members that supported Muhammad Ali in his decision to not go and fight in a war. And it was revealed last summer at the building where the meeting happened.
Wow, you have like two historical joints on your top three. I understand why it's difficult to select now.
Yeah, you know.
I'm pretty sure Kareem was at the Muhammad Ali event too. I think he was right there
He
supporting him.
was right behind him.
Did you talk to Kareem about that when you got a chance to meet him?
I
I guess you probably hadn't done it yet.
No, that came after.
That came after.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. What was Kareem like?
Oh, he's just a sweet old man. Yeah, he was really cool.
Right, right. So you're in all different types of mediums, right? I mean, you're doing location markers and statues. You're doing canvases. You're doing illustrations. Do you feel pulled towards one more than the other?
Hmm. It really just depends on what season I'm in my art wave. Cause sometimes I'll be more pulled towards murals and then mural commissions will come towards me. Or if I'm more into graphic design, those projects will come towards me. So it's whatever I'm feeling the most passionate about at the time is where I put my focus at.
It's funny how the universe responds in kind, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So if there's one thing that you want people to feel when they think of you as an artist, when they think about, the work and the energy and the passion that you put into all of your different types of different mediums, what do you want the person to experience through your art?
I want them to experience getting lost in it and really looking at the details to see how each figure connects to each other.
Word up.
Thank you.
Lacey Talley.
Woo!
Awesome. Well, yeah, I'll tell you again, like I said in the beginning, I implore people to check out LaceyTalley.com and really take a look at this phenomenal artist and the work that she's done. And I know. So, do you know what you're going to be showcasing? What you're going to be doing at Art and Soul?
Yes, so I will be live painting and singing, and there will also be. So I have a show it's a snippet of a show that I'm doing. It's called Nucleation, and it's a new structure via self assembly or self organization. And that's where I feel like I was when I first curated the show. I was becoming a new version of me. So I'll be performing a small snippet of that featuring the poet Just Cause. And yeah, it's going to be a great time.
That is awesome. Lacey Talley, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
BTSN Talk Tuesday on Twitter Space. Artist Soul Cleveland featuring Frank West and Lacey Talley. Stay connected to BTSN. Follow at BTSN Pass on Twitter for lively updates and engaging content. Sign up for our newsletter at btsn.watch to keep informed and never miss a moment. Join the conversation and stay connected with BTSN. Makers Mark. Makers Mark presents Art and Soul Saturday, March 4th, 7 to 11 p.m. at Lego East Bank in Cleveland, Ohio. We are excited about this conversation that we have going on. We're going to move the conversation into brand partnerships for creatives. We got Lex Lou in the building. We got Lacey Talley in the building. Just looked at some of her work. Her work is amazing. Just went through all of our. Probably went through every last anything you got online. I probably just went through it all while you were talking, and you haven't missed. I really appreciate your work. We got The fly and lonely stoner Frank West is here as well. We also got like through from Nerve DJs, Dustin, the company man, is in the building. We're gonna switch the conversation to brand partnerships for creatives. Dustin, take it away.
So I think that brand partnerships for creatives is one of these, truthfully, provides a really great lifeline to different artists. I want this to be an open conversation since we do have so many people on all sides of brand partnerships here. Not only with uh, Lacey and Frank, but also with BTSN. This is one of the things that our team does, and that we have probably 50 years of experience in this space. I think there's something that provides a great lifeline again to artists, but I'm not sure this is something that artists are always sure how to make happen. And I'll start with you, Lou, if you don't mind. What do you think is a tool or something that an artist should have at the forefront of their mind as they try to make and mature these relationships with different brands?
You just got to be able to make yourself. You got to be able to build your, brand. You have to make yourself a brand. You have to make yourself where people want to be around you. People want to listen to you. People want you. You have to be influential, and these people. Then you have to be able to bring something to the table that the brands see that they can use and give back. You just got to make yourself tangible. You just got to keep working. And you just got to keep building your brand.
Now, Lou, you curated this event, Art and Soul. Is that fair to say?
I've been behind the scenes doing a lot of work putting it together. Yes, I have.
Yeah. So, what stood out about Lacey and Frank, for example? We use that as a case study.
Well, Lacey was already approached by Maker's Mark, but then Maker's Mark approached me and said, "Hey, we need to find someone to embody the soul of Cleveland and something that will mesh good with Lacey Talley." So I did my research and I just kept checking around, and the name Frank West kept coming up. And then I remembered seeing Frank perform back in the day, and I remember how soulful he was. I remember how he captivated the audience when I seen him. I remember how like that was probably 7 years ago, maybe or longer when I seen it, but I still remember the performance. I remember the venue I was at. And I reached out to Frank, and he was, real excited to do it. And then I mentioned, Lacey was a part of it, and they were already friends and had already been working together. So it was just a good. It just meshed. It just all came together.
I think it's really important for artists to also know to have an idea, as you mentioned, have an idea of their own brand, and also know that when a partnership might not necessarily fit where the artist is or where the artist is going. Frank, if you have a second, what made Art and Soul Maker's Mark attractive to you with your brand?
Well, I had just started um, kind of just taking some risks on my social behavior. Like I said, I was really a private person, so but I do enjoy cocktails, and as you see, I'm a lonely stoner. So just as I began to live out loud, it was just a great avenue, and I love Maker's Mark. Dark spirits just go well with soul music.
Yeah, that's true. I like the wax on top of Maker's Mark too.
Yeah, it's like records.
I just like opening the bottle.
Yeah,
I like drinking and making the drinks, but opening the bottle is an experience in itself. I like that as
it's super
well.
exclusive.
Yeah, it really is, right? It feels like every bottle feels like a collector's item.
Yeah, I think every top is different. Like they're not all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Lacey, same question for you. What was it about Maker's Mark that felt like it was in line with your brand?
So, what I felt was in alignment with my brand is that I really loved how they wanted to highlight emerging artists. And I just felt like it was a great fit. I loved like the what they said we were going to be doing together. I was like, oh, this is right up my alley.
Right. Do you think about, when you're approached by different brands, for example, have you ever been approached? You don't have to say which brand, obviously,
Hmm.
but have you ever been in a situation where the brand wasn't quite the right fit with your personal brand?
Yeah, that was it was a brand that approached me years ago to do just like different posts of things, but I was like, this doesn't really feel like me, so I'm gonna have to decline.
Yeah, I mean, but was it, they want you to post their product, or they
Yeah,
wanted?
they wanted me to post their product, but it just didn't fit with what I was already posting, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like I have to stay true to myself before anything. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I feel like in this current era we're in general. I feel like I'm surrounded by conversations or an energy of like get the bag at all costs, right? But sometimes if you're the artist, some costs might be too high, and I'm always curious as to how artists handle those situations, right? Because sometimes you got to do what you have to do in order to do what you want to do. If that makes sense. Open statement. Anyone feel free to respond.
I heard somewhere that, and I don't remember where I heard this, but when you're a creative, you can create and it doesn't take anything from you because you're creating from within. So it's like your own currency within itself.
Say that one more time. I want to make sure I understood it before I respond. You heard somewhere.
I just heard somewhere that being a creative, like that's your currency. Say you want to buy a new laptop and it's $2,000. So you equate $2,000 to how much you make at your job, and that equates to how many hours if you're on hourly or salary. And you can never get that time back. But I can create an event, I can create a piece of music, I can create a piece of art and sell it for that price and go get what I want and not be out of any time, out of any resources or anything. And so a lot of times people think that they have to sacrifice, they think that they have to cut corners, and really the biggest sacrifice that you have to make is self-development and discipline and things like that. It's really not biting the bullet or paying your dues, because I paid my dues and it was just a lot of respect. Like it was just a lot of just respect, really, just knowing what people have done and knowing when to shut up and knowing when to talk and all of that. But the sacrifices, people really make a big deal out of it, but it's not that big, you know. But then again, sometimes you have to be homeless, and like if you're not cool with that, then okay, that might be big, you know what I mean? But
If you like Wi-Fi, that might be a different conversation. Yeah. Word up, Badger. You had something. I saw your hand raised over there.
Yes. So this is my question actually for both, for Lacey and Frank. Uh, and it's one of those questions like when I perform live, I feel ... And I'm curious about that one because as an artist, a visual artist too, I know every artist, especially visual artists, doesn't necessarily like to perform or create live. Sometimes the process just takes so long. For some people, it's just create stress, yada yada yada. And also for Frank, like the feeling of performing, like that's kind of where I get really curious for both artists. So when I perform live, I feel what?
Lacey, you go ahead.
All right. So,
Oh yeah.
so when I perform, I feel light. And when I say that, it's like a full body release for me. And it just feels amazing. Like I feel like I'm on a cloud.
When I perform, I feel empty. Like I'm giving everything. Like no more weight, no more burden, no more overthinking. Just complete free expression pouring out.
Wow. Inside brand partnerships for creatives, Makers Mark, BTSN Talk Tues. Conversation is amazing so far. Thank you for sharing your heart, bro, Frank West. Yeah, that hit. That was actually a very good question, brother Badru. BTSN Talk Tues on Twitter Space, Inside Art and Soul Cleveland, featuring Frank West and Lacey Talley. Stay up to date on BTSN. Follow at BTSN Pass on Twitter and sign up for our newsletter at BTSN Watch. Get the latest updates and never miss a beat. We're going to continue the conversation with brand partnerships. Paulie Rob, you got something? So we're going to continue the conversation on brand partnerships. Maker's Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sitting with that. I feel an empty thing. You know what I mean? I wasn't quite expecting that answer, but I think that's a testament to giving your all in the moment.
Yeah, I think my phone cut out. But yeah, I don't want to leave anybody confused. Empty meaning like I long to be in front of people and to like share my stories, with melodies. And so when I get a chance to, I'll pour it all out, and that's where the emptiness comes from.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, I also think that this is a really good. I think that brand partnerships also too is like, I mean, let's be real, right? The brands want to get in front of artists because artists are, the epitome of cool. Um, and I think that events like this, like Art and Soul that's coming up this Saturday, are, even as just a fan growing up, or even, as someone who wasn't a professional in entertainment, they were always my favorite events to go to, because to me it is important to support artists uh, who are making an impact, who are making a difference, whether that's financially, but also giving them a platform to express their creativity in different ways. Um, do you know what you're going to be doing this Saturday, Frank, at Art and Soul?
Yes, we're gonna do a full hour of electrifying music. I am beside myself to perform some music that I have not performed live yet. I'll be doing several songs from my latest release, The Flying Lonely Stoner. Yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, yeah, man. I mean, I'm not going to be there, unfortunately, on Saturday, but I can't wait to see the videos and see the content that comes out of it. Because like I said, I'm a big fan of that project. I've been listening to it this week, and it really is it's super strong.
Thank you.
Looks like we lost Badger. I know Badger had a couple of more points he wanted to make around this. But and if anybody who's in the audience here too, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. If you want to ask Lacey some questions, if you want to ask Frank some questions, um, feel free to raise your hand and we'll call on you. Looks like we got Badger back. Hold on, let me invite him. And here comes Badger. All right, Bad, you should be back. Badger, you back in?
Yes. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, sir.
What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? So, in terms of working with the brands, does working with the brand change how you execute, move, or do anything in your process, or do you shift because of the brand and what the brand might be on, or do you just do your things regardless?
I would say like I've been doing my thing, because I feel like my thing is what attracted the brand partnership. So it's like doing my thing, but times 10, you know.
Mm.
Lacey, speaking about doing your thing. Can you kind of tell people about the barrelheads and what you kind of did with those?
Oh yes. So they Makers Smart commissioned me to do 16 barrel heads. And so at first I was just gonna paint them. But then I got this idea. I was like, what if we did a scavenger hunt leading up to the show? And then it's like, so how it's set up. You find the barrelhead and then you scan the QR code. And then when you scan it, you get prompted with this image I made. And it tells you that you want to print. But the only way you can receive the print is if you pull up to the show. So I was very excited to do that and work with different local businesses around the city. And it's been really fun having people find them. I've been dropping like hints and clues for like the last week. It's been a great time.
So these are the barrelheads, like the whiskey barrelheads. Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
those big heavy wood ones that's like 50 pounds each. Yeah, it's those.
and and so where were the barrelheads? They were located around the city. Is that what am I
Yeah. So
hearing that
there are
correctly?
different coffee shops, restaurants, bars. Yeah.
Are they normally there? Did Maker's Mark put
No,
them
we
there?
put them there.
Oh, you put them
Yeah.
there? Okay. That's a creative idea.
Thank you, thank you.
She gave out clues via Instagram, and I know where they all are located.
Ah,
That's
no.
dope. That's dope. And so when they pull up to the show, they'll get the actual prints of the that's on the QR code.
Yeah. So it's like after they found the barrel head, they have to tag me and Makers. So they can so I got
Yeah.
proofs like, they went there, they seen it. And
how did Makers contact you to be a part of this?
so it was actually it was through a third party. It was Fluent 360, the creative agency based in Chicago. They reached out to me. I was like, "Hey, we have this client. They're looking to do this project. Would you be interested?" I said, "Say less." And yeah, that's how it happened. They reached out to me last summer.
And so how does your I mean you're doing a visual and you're singing, but you're also doing a live painting at the
Yes.
event. You know, so are you also a recording artist as well?
Um. Uh. I wouldn't claim that title yet. I just love to like. So, fun fact: I've been secretly singing for years, and a lot of people who are coming to the show, they still don't know that I sing because I haven't made it like public news or anything. So when they come, they shall be surprised.
So this is like your debut concert
Pretty
then.
much, yeah. I did like I did an intimate showing last year to like a few friends and family, but I haven't done it at this scale, so this should be exciting.
This is a BTSN
Oh
exclusive.
yeah.
You heard it here first.
That's dope.
Thank
That's dope.
you.
So what kind of music are you singing?
So I will be singing three different songs. One is by Lady Rye, Summer Walker, and I'm going back and forth on this Lizzo song. I'll make my decision by tomorrow. But those are the three I'm singing, and then the rest is a set playlist that goes along with the story.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the story?
Yeah, so I'll be performing the second half of Nucleation, and that's like the more like the lighter half. The first half is really about it's curated from the perspective of not loving yourself, being in an unhealthy relationship, and seeing how that can take a toll on you, on your career, and everything. And the second half is more of the like coming into yourself, finding who you are, and owning it, and walking proudly.
Mhm. And what is nucleation
So, are
mean?
you familiar with the process of a crystal becoming a crystal?
I'm not familiar with the process of a crystal becoming a
So,
crystal.
the first part of a crystal becoming a crystal is called nucleation. Yeah, and like I love to involve crystals like in all my work. So I was like, I could put like when thinking of the name, I wanted it to connect to what I'm already working on. So I was like, I'm in my nucleation process right now. I'm becoming a new structure via self-assembly or self-organization.
I like that. Look, I learn something new every day. Today,
Yeah.
nucleation.
Thank
Yeah, I am with that. I am with that.
you.
So this is your since this is your you know pseudo debut as a singer. Are there any new or fresh nerves that are attached to that?
Um it's like a yes and a no because I really like love singing. I would say the nerve is coming from the new song that I'm learning. But like when I sing on a mic, it's hard to explain. It just feels right. It's a form of therapy for me. So like for years I would always sing while I would paint. Like singing is a way to help me release pent up energy. And to do that in front of people and paint and be in such an intimate setting, it just feels transformative in a way.
Yeah. Are you guys gonna do a duet? You and Frank?
Ooh, I'm open to it.
Oh, sucky sucky nah.
Ah! I would be honored.
Ashford and Simpson. I'll vote
Yeah,
for
we.
Ashford and Simpson. Solid as a rock,
Oh,
because a rock is a crystal.
you're right. It ties in.
There it is. There it is.
Yes.
Nucleation. See, that was the nucleation of a future collaboration,
Ooh.
Oh, you're outdoing yourself.
and that's a bar at the
I'm
same
impressed.
time.
Yes.
Oh man, that's dope. So yeah, so Saturday, Art and Soul, Maker's Mark. What's the location?
Lago, East Bank at the Flats.
And what's the time?
7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
And what's dress code?
Fly.
Word up, word up, word up. Oh man. Well, I'll tell you, man. I wish I could be there to see you both perform and represent. But I know Je will be there, Lou will be there, Badger's going to be there, so we'll have heavy BTSN representation on Saturday.
We're looking forward to
Um,
meeting all y'all.
yeah, 100%, man, 100%. So again, this is BTSN Talk Tuesdays. We do this every Tuesday. Art and Soul. Do you guys have any last words that you want to share? Anything about Art and Soul? Anything about your projects? Anything about life and the way things are going? Anything about your perspective?
I'm still thinking 1 second. I would say like as a final thing to say would be to always choose you and walk proudly in your path and never play small.
Never play small. Big, big facts.
Wow, that was well said, Lace.
Thanks, man.
I'd have to first second that motion and just wrap it up by saying be kind in everything you do. Just be kind, man. Thanks for having me. I had a great time. It's a beautiful outlet.
BTSN Talk Tuesday. BTSN Talk Tuesday. Thank you, Lex, Lacey. Thank you, Lex Lou. Thank you, Baju. Thank you, everyone, for showing up on the call. Thank you, the Flying and Lonely Stoner. Thank you, Frank West. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Lacey Tolley, Maker's Mark, thank you for promoting and supporting that. BTSN Top Twos, we in the game in the building. This is a wrap for tonight. Thank you for showing up. And this is recorded, so when you want to listen to this again, go ahead and tweet it back out to your family, to your friends. Let them know what's going on. This was an amazing conversation brought to it by you, brought to you by you. So check it out. We're good. We're gonna be out. We good? Any other words before we close out?
Before we get out of here, I got to give a shout out to Lanessa Jones from Maker's Mark. She's a Maker's Mark ambassador for putting this event together. And Bobby from Beam Centauri, he's also helped put this event together. I've been working behind the scenes with those two people. So I got to, put those people and shout them out. I think they're on the call, but I just can't happen this. I don't see them in the thing, but I know they are on the call. So I want to give them a shout out for putting this event together.
Look out for the wrap of the event. We're good. If you're not able to make the event, BTSN will be having some behind the scenes footage and content of the event to share. So if you don't catch it, look out for that.
Word up. Have a good night, everybody.